Have you ever asked yourself if there is such a thing as the perfect time to sleep? A time of night when your memory grows sharper, when your heart finds protection, and when your energy quietly begins to return, as if life is giving you back what the years have taken. At first, it may sound too simple to believe. Yet often, the most powerful changes are not the complicated ones. They are the smallest adjustments that touch everything around them. What if the reason you have felt more tired lately, forgetting small details, or waking up heavy and unrefreshed even after many hours in bed, is not simply because you are growing older? What if the deeper truth is that you have been going to bed at the wrong time? For those of you who have passed the age of 70, or for anyone who cares for a loved one in their later years, I invite you to consider this possibility. It may change not only the way you think about sleep, but also the way you experience aging itself. In my many years of guiding people toward better health, I have seen one simple shift in habit bring extraordinary transformation. I have witnessed older men and women move from restless nights and long days of fatigue to mornings where they wake with renewed clarity and emotional balance. And the most beautiful part is this: they did not require new medications, costly treatments, or elaborate routines. They changed only the time when they surrendered to rest. What I share with you today is not theory. It is the result of scientific research and lived human experience. There exists what I call a golden hour of sleep, a window of time when the body and mind of a senior are most ready to rest deeply, to heal, and to renew themselves. Across the country, those who follow this natural rhythm are not only sleeping better, they are living with greater strength and peace. Here lies a truth often overlooked. After the age of 70, the body's internal clock changes profoundly. If you resist it, staying awake late into the night for television, for old habits, or for a sense of routine, you may unknowingly invite fatigue, forgetfulness, and even strain on your heart. But when you understand what is happening inside of you, and when you choose to work with your body rather than against it, the experience of aging transforms. In the moments ahead, I will share with you what the most respected institutions, Harvard, Mayo Clinic, and Johns Hopkins, have uncovered about the aging brain, about sleep hormones, and about the most restorative time for elders to close their eyes. I will also bring you stories of real people in their 70s and 80s who embraced this shift and discovered new vitality within weeks. So if you long for deeper sleep, for steadier energy, for clearer memory, and for a calmer spirit, remain with me. This may be the most important lesson you will receive this year. Have you noticed that sleep no longer feels the same as it once did? Perhaps you find yourself drifting off during your favorite evening program, only to awaken suddenly at 2 a.m, staring into the darkness as if the night itself refuses to welcome you back into rest. Or maybe you still spend 7 or 8 hours in bed, yet when the morning arrives, you rise with the heavy sensation that you have not truly slept at all. If this has been your experience, please carry this understanding with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not failing, and this is not simply an inevitable punishment of growing old. What is happening is that your body is changing and your sleep is quietly following that transformation. After the age of 70, a subtle but powerful shift occurs within the brain. We begin to lose something called deep sleep, the stage of rest responsible for repairing the body, for cleansing the mind, and for restoring the energy that allows us to face a new day. Scientific studies reveal that by the time most people reach their 70s, they may experience as much as 40% less deep sleep than they did in their 50s. This is not a small change. It means that even if your body lies still through the night, your mind may not be receiving the depth of renewal it once enjoyed. That is why so many elders wake up still tired, emotionally flat, or mentally clouded, despite believing they slept enough. But there is more to this story. With age, our production of melatonin, the hormone that signals the body to feel sleepy, begins to arrive earlier in the day. That familiar wave of drowsiness that comes around 8 or 8:30 in the evening is not an inconvenience. It is your biology gently whispering, It is time. Yet most people brush it aside. They say it is too early to sleep. They push through with television, late-night conversations, small snacks, or simply out of habit. The truth is that the body's quiet invitation to rest is not weakness, it is wisdom. When we ignore it, when we resist its gentle guidance, sleep becomes more elusive and rest feels less complete. I recall a dear patient of mine, Mr. Johnson, who came to me one cool autumn afternoon. He was 70 years old, a retired history teacher with a sharp intellect and a kind spirit. But on that day, he was weary. He sat across from me and confessed, "Doctor, I still go to bed at the same time I always have, around 11. But I lie there for hours, and when I finally do sleep, I wake up more tired than before. What is wrong with me?" We spoke, and I ran a few simple tests. The answer soon revealed itself. There was nothing broken within him. His body was simply living by a new rhythm. His brain had begun producing melatonin earlier, but his old habits kept him awake long past the window when his body longed for rest. So I asked him to try an experiment. For 3 weeks, I told him, go to bed at 9:30. Turn off the television, set aside the books, and instead, just listen to the quiet voice of your own body. He chuckled. That early? I smiled gently. Yes, that early. Just try it. 3 weeks later, Mr. Johnson returned, carrying himself with a new energy. His posture was taller, his eyes brighter. He looked at me and said words I will not forget. It feels like someone turned the light back on in my brain. He had been sleeping more deeply, waking up with clarity, and even rekindling his morning walks, something he had not felt strong enough to do for months. Mr. Johnson's story is not rare. It is not even unusual. It is the story of millions of older adults across the world who cling to the schedule they kept decades ago, while their bodies quietly ask them to shift, to surrender, to trust a new rhythm. The truth is that sleep after 70 is not broken, it is simply different. Your body still longs to rest, to heal, and to reset. It is still capable of renewal. The only difference is that it is now operating on a new timeline. When you begin to honor that timeline, instead of resisting it, something changes. Fatigue gives way to strength. Confusion gives way to clarity. Restlessness gives way to peace. The invitation is already within you. The question is whether you will accept it. There comes a moment when you realize that the struggle against sleep is unnecessary. You no longer need to fight it. Instead, you can learn to flow with it, to allow rest to meet you where your body is already waiting. When you do, something beautiful unfolds. True rest begins again. And at the heart of this transformation lies a hidden truth. There is a window of time that can change your life. For those of us beyond 70, the hours between 9 and 10 at night hold a quiet power. This is what I call the golden hour of sleep. Few doctors speak of it directly, but I will tell you now. The time you go to bed matters just as much as the number of hours you spend sleeping. Think of those nights when you stayed awake past 10. Perhaps you wanted to finish a program, share a late conversation, or simply enjoy a moment of solitude. Yet the next morning, you found yourself heavy, sluggish, and strangely unrefreshed. You may have believed it was just age, but new science tells us otherwise. In 2024, researchers at the Mayo Clinic discovered that older adults who consistently went to bed between 9 and 10 experienced a 45% improvement in sleep quality. This was not a small or imagined difference. It was measurable, undeniable. They slept more deeply, woke less often during the night, and rose with greater energy to greet the day. Why does this happen? As the years pass, our internal clock shifts. The hormones that guide our rest and waking, melatonin, which brings drowsiness, and cortisol, which signals alertness, appear earlier in the evening and earlier in the morning. When you were in your 40s or 50s, perhaps you naturally felt sleepy closer to 10:30 or 11. But by the time we reach our 70s, the body may begin to call for rest as early as 8:30. That wave of sleepiness that touches you in the evening is not weakness. It is not decay. It is the wisdom of your biology saying, now is the time. Too often, we ignore that whisper. We fight it, holding out for a second wind that never truly comes. And then we wonder why our sleep feels broken. I remember a woman named Mrs. Williams. She was 76, graceful in her presence, yet burdened by insomnia that had shadowed her life for more than 40 years. She had tried everything: melatonin tablets, calming teas, sound machines, even prescription medication. Still, sleep slipped through her grasp. One evening, sitting quietly in my office, she confessed, "I have gone to bed at midnight since I was a teenager. I am not sure I know how to sleep earlier." I listened and explained gently. Her body's rhythm had shifted, but she was still living by an old schedule. What if, instead of fighting the clock, she chose to align with it? She agreed to try. For 3 weeks, she went to bed at 9:30 each night. No distractions, no waiting for midnight. She surrendered to her body's natural timing. When she returned, tears filled her eyes. "Doctor," she whispered, "I finally sleep. I sleep through the night." Her daytime fatigue dissolved. Her mood lifted. Even her memory, once clouded, began to shine again. All of it from one simple act: listening to her body and honoring the golden hour. Mrs. Williams' story is not unique. In truth, she is one among many. In a 6-month survey of 500 seniors in our clinic, those who embraced the practice of going to bed between 9 and 10 each evening experienced remarkable results. 8 out of 10 reported that they fell asleep more easily. 3 out of 4 found themselves waking fewer times during the night, and 7 out of 10 described their mornings as brighter with greater energy, clarity, and emotional balance. These outcomes are not miracles. They are not the result of chance. They are what happens when the wisdom of science is met with the kindness of self-care. When your body begins to ask for rest earlier than it once did, the invitation is not something to push